Hi, welcome to the webinar. Today we're going to talk about closing the technology gap with connected field service. We'll look at aspects of the platform around Microsoft AI, IoT, field service management, automation, as well as analytics. Today's agenda will cover connected technologies, so the real-world application of AI, IoT, and mixed reality, and also what automation we can put into field service. We'll look at the benefits experienced for other field service teams and individuals. We'll do an introduction on how you can use field service in operations and management. We'll have a live demonstration of the product. We'll have some customer success stories and look at how we can integrate field service with your existing technology stack, as well as some next steps in QA at the end. Let's start with me. So who am I? I am Mark Christie. I'm one of the directors here at Proximo 3. I've been working with field service for over 10 years now, even dating back to when field service was actually called Field 1 Sky. I'm a Microsoft regional lead. I actually wrote the exam on field service. I'm a dual category MVP, which means I work with Power Platform and with Microsoft Copilot. I've led several enterprise level projects, including field service and customer service for some of Microsoft's top customers. The team at Proximo have experience delivering enterprise level field service solutions. We currently have globally 25,000 engineers working within field service on deployments that myself, Ian, and Andrew have completed. This means that we can work at scale and at pace. As well as field service, we can also help deploy customer service and the universal resource scheduling module. When we start a project, one of the things that we do is we ask customers why they're looking to move to field service. This is a quote from one of our enterprise level customers that we've just completed a field service deployment for. Every day felt like an uphill battle. Our outdated IT systems slowed us down. They created a communications gap and it made it near impossible to deliver consistent, high quality service. The constant struggle to keep everything moving smoothly. We took that as a challenge. We took that the customer was in old, antiquated systems. It was slowing their operations down. It meant they couldn't scale. So we took that as a challenge to make them scale at speed and give them a system that would work for them. IoT, or Internet of Things, is one of Microsoft's biggest growth areas at the moment. Currently, there's a 47% increase of uptime through using smart devices and IoT. You can use predictive maintenance, where you can have sensors that will give you real-time data, whether something is due to fail, has failed. It will also create you work orders automatically to allow you to go out to a customer and do preemptive maintenance, and also reactive. If something is broken, it can give you an alert to tell you that it's broken. This saves the customer finding out there's a problem, picking up the phone, phoning the call desk, getting an engineer scheduled, having the engineer come out. Rather than 4 or 5 steps with a manual process, IoT gives you that one single moment of truth and creates that booking for you. Something that I actually find quite cool is the ability to have mixed reality within business. Using applications like Remote Assist allows you to have engineers out in the field with more skilled engineers at the tip of the finger. So you could pick up a HoloLens or your mobile phone, share your screen with a more skilled engineer who can draw pictures on your screen, who can circle things, point to diagrams, point to maybe a loose wire or a loose cable, and give you more information about what's going on. That now directly embeds within the field service mobile application. So you can get quick guidance from the application, from the remote engineers. You can get access to training manuals. You can also save the information back to the field service work order once it's complete. The International Data Corporation have stated that 46.1% of field service team members valued the contribution of generative AI. It's allowed them to improve triage of inbound requests, resolve issues quicker, improve the quality of service that's provided, potentially improve the technician's satisfaction and also their engagement, improve their training and faster time to productivity, retain the service talent, and also increase the revenue operations. The artificial intelligence will allow you to have AI-built documentation, AI-built work orders, and also templates for your jobs. So you could have your different training materials, have the correct skills matched, track and reorder inventory when it's required, and also look at wide volumes of data. So take that data that's been inserted into your dynamic system and use it for 3 or 4 months. Because when you put the data in first, you're not going to get a true reflection of what's happening within your business. Train that data model for 3 months on the work that's being done and let field service then suggest some improvements for your platform. Now, the really fun part for me is when we actually use Copilot or AI in field service. We can use it in multiple different areas around work order management, predictive management, scheduling and dispatching, field service tech, support, customer interactions. But as part of that, what you might not be aware is field service for many years has actually already been using AI or Copilot technology. Resource scheduling optimization, and what that will do in the background is that takes all of your users, your resources, your jobs, and your skills. It takes it away up to the Azure cloud. It combines the work that you need to have done, the work that's scheduled, and then it will create job schedules for all of your engineers. So that's already been in the product for a long time. Microsoft are now starting to bring some of that into the platform and make it more accessible at a more reasonable cost. But with the work order management, it will allow you to create, manage, and view work orders automatically. It will summarize what's being done and give you an overview of what needs to be done for that work order. The predictive management, well, the AI at this point will monitor and analyze the data to predict equipment issues, whether they're going to occur, whether they have occurred. It will actually help you have minimal downtime for your components. The chatbots and the virtual assistants mean that you can talk to the chatbot. If you have a work order and you want to ask that work order a question about a product or about a service, you can do that through the platform. Because you want to utilize AI, AI is just using the data that sits in the background, so it's good to have a solid base of data, and that's where the CRM system comes in. CRM system will allow you to store the resources, the skills, the jobs, the customers, the addresses that you need to have. So by having this information correct as a base layer, that will allow the AI to create some informed decisions to help you as a business go forward. As I said, with the data being correct, it allows you to make informed decisions. So companies worldwide are using data to improve their efficiency and productivity, achieve more effective decision making, and drive better financial performance. By doing this, it allows the business to run more efficiently, more effectively, and allows you to have the data on hand to make informed decisions. When we're using field service, if we're capturing the correct information, it could increase the first time fix rates. So rather than having to go out to the customer multiple times, you only go out once. The response times, we can have a faster response time. Because we have the data, because we have the mapping and the planning, we can get to that job quicker. By knowing what's going on in that job, we could send the right person to the job, which means the average repair time will come down. We can look at the utilization of engineers. Are we sending the engineers on 25-hour trips when there is somebody already in that location that could be there in an hour? Just by using the data, the right place at the right time will allow us to be more efficient in what we do. One of my favorite things is actually visualizations, making sure that you can read the story of what's happening in your business. It's fine looking at an Excel with hundreds and thousands of rows of data, but when you can actually see a visual or a picture of what's happening, it just allows you to tell that story in a relatable way. Now, having that data in one place is great, but we know out the box that field service isn't going to meet all of your requirements. And that's when we can look at the low-code automation. So within the Power Platform, we have Power Automate. And that will allow us to create process flows, automate work orders, trigger actions. We can do inventory management, so we can order products or reorder products. We can do invoicing out of the box. We can do automation of job statuses, and we can put guardrails and governance around the platform that ensures that only the people that have certain job roles can access certain parts of the system. So we've talked a lot about the concept of field service, the AI aspects and the IoT parts of field service. But what actually is field service in a nutshell? So field service is a Microsoft Dynamics 365 first-party application that allows you to have a back office staff where you can schedule jobs and a field team where they go out and actually complete the jobs. Obviously, that's a high-level overview of it, but it also allows you to effectively communicate with your customers or with your engineers. You can schedule jobs and you can dispatch different people to different jobs with the right tools. You can use billing, so you have the ability to generate invoices based on the products and services that the customers and the engineers have used. You can boost the technician's efficiency, so we can actually chat with Copilot to search our product manuals to find relevant things to help you resolve the jobs quicker. One of the smaller parts of field service that actually isn't talked about a lot is the asset management. So a customer can have an asset that you can track the history of that equipment, when it's been repaired, when it's due for service. As part of the engineer's work orders, you can track the time that was spent traveling, on a break, on the job, in wrap-up. You can track all of that information within the platform. By using Remote Assist, it will allow you to have step-by-step guides and share your screen with more experienced engineers. The preventive maintenance side comes back to the IoT, so we could have automatically scheduled jobs. The analytics side, now hold the hands up here and say, the data is great, having all the data is there. There's no out-the-box field service dashboards. That's because every business is slightly different. There's not a one-size-fits-all. So when it comes to reporting and taking that data back to management level, we would work with you on Power BI to display that data in a story that tells what's happening in your business. When I look at a standard field service deployment, there's 4 or 5 different roles or jobs that we look at. We look at the customer service agents. They're usually the people who are taking the inbound phone calls or the inbound emails and creating the work orders. They come under back office. We have the dispatchers. Those are the ones who are assigning the jobs and assigning skills and maybe updating or rescheduling jobs. Again, they come under back office. The field technicians, they're the people who are out in the field doing the work, whether it's the traveling to the job, completing the job. All of those tasks come under field technician. We have the inventory managers. Now, not all businesses have this role. That's why I said 4 or 5 a minute ago. The inventory managers can either be using field service, or if you have something like Business Central or F&O, there's direct integration between field service that will allow you to connect and manage in those finance systems. We also have the service managers who sit at the higher level, who would be the ones that would be consuming the reports and the Power BIs. But what were the key impacts that are needed from this? So when we speak to our customers, there's always a lack of visibility on who's doing what job. It's difficult to track what's in stock, what's out of stock, and what's needed for the jobs. There's multiple different ways of communicating between back office and frontline engineers. That could be emails, text messages. It could be somebody writing something in the back of a notepad. It could be a physical printed note. There's always gaps. Field service will address that. There's limited training for the technicians, and there's always delays in completion because you're not going to the right job with the right skill set or the right piece of stock. Feedback we always get from customers is around the inefficiencies and delays. So a lot of the time the customers are not able to tell who's been scheduled for a job, when it's been scheduled, if they have the right equipment, if they have the right skills to do the job. The communication problems, whether it's with the customer, whether it's with the engineer, not knowing who's doing the job or being given the wrong date and wrong time for the job, means that you might result in additional callouts. There's varied customer experience. Maybe if you do by email, you get a good answer straight away. But if you send a letter in, it might have a totally different outcome. By using these old tools and old technology, your employees will actually get bored. So they'll not be having fun using the tool. Not that I say that work is fun, but using old systems makes their jobs a lot harder. So they may look at competitors with better infrastructure to reduce their frustration. If you're not capturing the right data, you don't know if people are making the jobs on time, if they're late to the jobs, are they doing first time fix? By not having the data, you've got poor performance tracking. And by not going to the right jobs at the right time, or having the wrong skills, or having to do things manually, that actually has a higher cost to the business. By using Excel, by using Word, using these different individual platforms and not a CRM system or a field service system, there are lots of security vulnerabilities that your data might be processed incorrectly or lost. For me, the main objectives of a field service deployment really comes into several different categories, but being able to give the customer a good experience, to give them a predictive and proactive model, and empower their own workforce. So increasing the first time fix rates, minimizing equipment downtime, and enhancing the overall service that they give to the customers. With the employees, we want to make their lives easier by giving them the right tools to be able to do the job. It also allows you to have a good collaboration and safety mechanism, whether that is using remote assist or using field service or using Teams. But the main goal is the end customer. So we're looking to reduce the costs and optimize their productivity. We're looking to monitor the inefficiencies that they have. We don't want to delay any work order, so by doing that with the data, we can track that. And also we can maintain any regulatory compliance that's required. One of Microsoft's case studies on the website talks about a $43 million saving. That's obviously not just in monetary value, but there was a £800,000 OPEX licensing save. The time to invoice meant that they were bringing in 2.8 million in interest additional. They were improving the number of man hours by 100 hours per week. They were increasing field tech productivity by 14%. So getting the right people with the right skills to the right job first. The first time fix rates increased by 12%, which meant there were reductions in additional visits. The engineers' efficiencies were also up by 40%. So now we'll go to the fun part where I actually get to show you some field service and how we can improve the first time fix rates. So we'll start off by just looking at some of the basic things that we can get through the AI. Now, this isn't specifically just for field service, it does work throughout the whole platform, but we're able to use the natural language search and functionality. So if I want to maybe bring back certain users in a certain organizational group, I can actually just type that in, it will go away, it will run my query. It's normally quicker than this, so if you just bear with it. There we go, so it's brought back all of the resources who are available in Wales. Now we can expand that as well, so we can say, right, okay, maybe let's take not just the ones that are in Wales, let's maybe go for adding a skill in here. So let's go for something very Scottish. Let's look at all contacts all resources who are a contact type with the name Archie. So we can do that quite quick, quite simple, and it'll bring through to that information very quickly. So it just shows you the ability and the power of the platform to get the information really quickly. So we now don't have to add columns, do filters. We can do this really, really quickly. So we're going to just expand on that and look for a contact called Albin, who is in a business unit in the Northeast. Again, information is on the screen, so as long as it's on the screen at the time, we can bring that back. And yep. And because it's a demo, obviously it doesn't work for me. So let's just skip into the characteristics. So let's have a look at characteristics. So we work a lot with people who need security checks. So let's bring back everyone who has had a DBS check. So you can see we've got about 260 records of everyone who has a DBS check. So that's bringing everyone back who has that check. Now we can add more fields to the form. So we could add in, let's say, the issue date. So if there was an issue date for that person, we could do a quick search and bring back people whose names or the business units that they were in or the certificates that they had, and we can put that in and populate it from there. So we'll go into the schedule board and just have a look at the new functionality that's in the schedule board around AI. So you can see we're just heading to the schedule board now, and on the schedule board we're going to have a list of all of the resources. We're going to have a look at all of the open requirements. So you'll see here the organizational units that we looked at earlier are all on the top in different schedule boards, and then we can look at what we've got scheduled for today, who's scheduled, etc. So on this one it seems that nobody's scheduled, so we're just going to go into a work order for now. Now, one of the vast improvements is the AI capability and the ability to get Copilot reviews of the cases. So what it does, it looks at everything that's either on the form or off the form, pulls all that information together, and then summarizes it. Now, you may ask why summarize everything that's on the screen? But in this instance, you might give certain people with certain job roles only access to 2 or 3 things on that form. They might only see the work order, who it's for, and when it's due. But they'll be able to go in, they will look at the skills that are needed, who reported it, what's been done to it, when it's been scheduled to do. So you'll see here we're just putting some sample data in. If I use the Copilot, it's now going to come away and tell me exactly what's happening with that, if there's anything that we need to know. So you'll see on the left-hand side where we put the password to get into the building, that's going to appear at the bottom, just to say, here we go. So anything that we've added to that form is obviously now appeared here. So for me, rather than going in, looking at everything one by one, clicking buttons, scrolling through multiple tabs, I can just use Copilot to quickly generate me that information. Because I like the Microsoft technology, I'm just going to give it a wee thumbs up to tell Microsoft how awesome it is. Now, the next panel we've got is actually a PCF. Now, within that PCF, there's still a lot of AI and automation in the background. So if you think of a generic model-driven app, you're seeing some things here that are rendering that are not normal, just fields, charts, and views. This PCF is using some AI in the background to update the status of work orders, to post them, to get invoices. So if on this work order, if I was using products and I was using services, it would go away and it would pull all that information through and give me the values that have been done. As I say, all this is just working in the background. We can come back out to the views and have a look at everything that's in there as well. So as I say, if I go in here and start adding some products and services, that information will all pull through. So what we'll do is we'll go back to the bookings and the resources. So we're just going to pick up a booking, and as a member of the team, I want to just have a quick look at what bookings are scheduled for tomorrow. So again, just natural language query. What jobs are booked tomorrow? And it will bring back everything that's scheduled and booked. Now again, it only brings back the information on the screen, but if I go and add in more fields or even related fields, I can go and populate that information. So anything here extra that I want, I can go in, I can get that information and show that. So we're going to add the city on the work order. So we'll just expand the query out a little bit to show me all work orders or all bookings that are in a certain time at a certain place. So we'll head back now to the schedule board. So as I say, we've just been navigating around quickly. If we go to the schedule board, we pull all of the jobs so we can see everything that's scheduled, who's scheduled, when it's due to happen. We can see the travel time in between the jobs. This is by using the RSO engine, so Resource Scheduling Optimization, which is More AI that works in the background where you can define the jobs, the resources. It pulls that data, takes it away out to the Azure cloud. There is some machine learning there that will then populate the jobs. So we've seen the demo, we've looked at the cost saving, we've looked at the AI and the technology. But one of the big things around field service is its ability to integrate with your technology stack. So if you're using Outlook and Teams, if you're using Business Central, if you're using finance and operations, there are out-of-the-box integrations directly with that platform. But by using field service, it also opens up your platform to other areas. So if you're using other databases or other APIs or connectors, field service will allow you to build your own APIs and connection to either pull or push data from those other systems. That technology stack leads us back to ourselves at Proximal as a Microsoft valued partner. We're a team of MVPs with over 40 years experience within business applications and now Power Platform. We work with SMB customers all the way through to enterprise level, whether that's on field service, customer insights, or with different ISV solutions. We can help you with field service, with customer service, any platform that sits within the Microsoft technology. We have specialists who focus in different areas. Within Proximal, we've worked with lots of trusted partners as well as end customers. We recently worked with KPMG and the UK government to deliver a field service project. We've worked training the team at PwC on how they can implement field service to their customers. With Moog, we've worked with them to deliver a customer insights journey package, as well as talking to them about the effectiveness of scheduling. And people might recognise the name Campari, it's always one that springs to mind. We've worked with them with their customer insights journey and with their customer insights data, making sure that having the right data allowed them to make informed decisions within their business. Now that you have this information, and if you want to learn more about field service or how Proximal can help you in general, you can book a call with the team. You can look at our LinkedIn profiles. You can also visit the Proximal 3 website at proximal3.com, download our case study, look at our field service product page, or book a call in with Keegan. I'd just like to finish off by saying thank you very much. And if you've got any questions, please feel free to do so in the chat.